Okay, so you're curious about this new Swedish horror movie Virgo, right?
Mhm.
It's generating some buzz,
Yeah.
but what's it actually about?
Yeah.
Well, you've come to the right place.
Absolutely.
We've got the TMDB page all set,
Okay.
and we're ready to dive in and uncover some juicy
Oh,
details.
good.
What's the first thing that jumps out at you?
I'm immediately struck by the title Virgo.
Mm-hmm.
It evokes a sense of purity, even innocence,
Right.
but horror.
Yeah.
That feels like a bold choice, doesn't it?
It's like taking a fluffy bunny and setting it loose in a haunted house.
Yeah.
Totally unexpected.
Yeah.
So this band, the Raspberries,
Okay.
a bunch of young punks, they're on a road trip cruising through Sweden in a beat-up van.
Right.
Classic.
That setting Sweden is key here.
Okay.
Scandinavian horror thrives on atmosphere isolation, a sense of creeping dread.
Yeah.
Imagine those long, dark winters.
Okay, I'm getting chills.
Right.
So they meet this goth girl, Ava. The synopsis describes her as charming and intense.
Okay.
But there's something about her that gives you a bad feeling.
Right.
She invites them to an after party,
Okay.
but it seems like there's a dark agenda brewing.
Now, that's a phrase that should make any horror fan sit up and take notice.
Yeah.
Dark agenda suggests she's got hidden motives,
Mm-hmm.
a plan in motion, and the slow burn thriller vibe that's right up my alley.
Totally.
Yeah.
Speaking of, let's talk director,
Okay.
Jacob Ekfall.
Mm-hmm.
This is his baby.
Wow.
And as for the cast, we've got Inez Anderson and Wilma G. Sand.
Okay.
Ever heard of them?
That's the thrill of discovering new films, though.
Right.
Fresh faces, fresh perspectives.
Yeah.
You don't have preconceived notions about their performances.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Plus, the TMDB page lists some intriguing keywords.
Oh, really?
Sinister ulterior motives.
Okay.
And, of course, goth girl.
All right.
You know what that means, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
The goth subculture, it's steeped in the macabre. The dark aesthetics, the fascination with death.
Yeah.
It's like a visual and thematic shortcut to creating an unsettling atmosphere.
No doubt.
Yeah.
But here's a detail that piqued my interest.
Okay.
The runtime.
Uh-huh.
1 hour and 27 minutes?
Okay.
That's concise, that's tight, that's no nonsense.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we've got a potentially creepy setting,
Right.
a band on the road,
Yeah.
a mysterious goth girl with a dark agenda,
Mm-hmm.
and a director who clearly knows how to deliver a good scare.
Sounds like it.
What more could you ask for?
Yeah, what more could you ask for?
It does sound like a recipe for a good scare, doesn't it?
But what I find particularly intriguing is that title, Virgo, set against this backdrop of potential darkness.
Totally.
It feels almost subversive, wouldn't you say?
It's like they're setting us up for a bait and switch.
We expect innocence purity, but
Yeah.
what do we get the opposite?
Exactly.
And that got me thinking about Swedish folklore.
Oh, yeah.
It's filled with these enigmatic figures, creatures that blur the lines between good and evil.
Right.
What if Ava, with that name that evokes purity, is actually connected to something ancient and unsettling?
Ooh, now we're getting somewhere.
Okay, so say Ava's got ties to this hidden world.
Yeah.
How do you think that plays out with the band?
Right.
Are they just pawns in her game, or is there something more going on?
I'm fascinated by the potential for unexpected connections.
We have the Raspberries, this punk band, all rebellion and noise.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have Ava steeped in goth, which is more about introspection, darkness expressed internally.
Right.
Two different subcultures, both on the fringes, both drawn to the raw and unsettling, but in distinct ways.
It's like the movie itself is mirroring that tension.
And that got me thinking about those keywords again.
Yeah.
Sinister, ulterior motives.
Mhm.
It's all pointing to something deeper, something hidden.
Right.
We're talking about hidden motives. We're talking about a director making his feature debut.
Mm-hmm.
This is Jacob Ekfall's chance to really make a statement.
Mm-hmm.
He's not just rehashing tired tropes. He's weaving a story with layers, with this undercurrent of suspense.
Yeah.
And think about the setting those isolated landscapes.
You're totally right.
The isolation is almost a character itself in Scandinavian horror.
Right.
It amplifies the fear, the vulnerability. The band touring in that beat-up van, they're venturing into the unknown, into those desolate spaces where anything can happen.
Precisely.
And that's where the true horror often lies, in the unknown, the unseen.
Right.
It's not always about jump scares and gore. It's about atmosphere anticipation, the slow build of dread.
Yeah.
And the fact that this is all playing out against the backdrop of those stark, unforgiving landscapes.
It just adds to the sense of unease, right?
You feel like the characters are being swallowed whole by the environment.
Yeah.
But let's swing back to Ava for a second.
Okay.
We've talked about the goth girl element,
Hmm.
but I'm curious, how do you think that will translate visually?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of vibe are we talking about here? Well, if we're tapping into those classic goth aesthetics, think dark clothing, dramatic makeup,
Mm-hmm.
it's a visual language that immediately signals a departure from the norm, a connection to the darker side of things.
Right.
But it's not just about the visuals.
Mm-hmm.
Goth often explores themes of isolation, alienation, a fascination with death and the macabre.
And isn't that fascinating when you consider the punk scene, too?
There's this inherent darkness there as well.
Yeah.
But it manifests in a completely different way. The music, the energy, the rebellion.
Yeah.
It's like these two subcultures are drawn to the same flame, but they dance around it in different ways.
Exactly.
It's a brilliant juxtaposition. And I think it speaks to the film's potential for complexity.
Right.
We're not just dealing with good versus evil, black and white.
Right.
There are shades of gray here, layers of meaning that invite us to look deeper.
And that's what makes a deep dive like this so rewarding, right?
We're piecing together the clues, unpacking the layers, trying to anticipate how all these elements will converge on screen. And with a film like Virgo, which seems to be playing with our expectations from the very title onward, the possibilities are truly exciting.
Yeah.
We've talked about the setting the characters, the themes, but what about the director himself?
Yeah.
We know Jacob Ekvall's a new voice, but what kind of mark do you think he's trying to make on the genre with this film?
Good question.
Well, I think choosing to make your directorial debut in the horror genre is a bold move.
It's a genre that demands a lot from a filmmaker, both technically and creatively.
And with Virgo, he seems to be embracing that challenge head on, weaving together these intriguing threads, the folklore, the subcultures, the psychological suspense.
Mm-hmm.
It suggests a director with a clear vision, a desire to push boundaries.
Totally.
Yeah.
So I think we're in for a wild ride.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the question is Virgo going to be the next Midsommar?
That's a high bar.
Or is it going to be more like, let the right one in?
It's going to be interesting to find out.
We're going to be right here with you,
Definitely.
ready to analyze every single frame.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what do you say we jump into part 3?
Let's do it.
You know, it's fascinating to think about how Ekvall's background, or lack thereof, might influence his approach to horror.
Yeah.
Is he a horror aficionado himself, or is he bringing a fresh, almost naive perspective to the genre?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
It's always exciting to see new filmmakers taking on these established genres, bringing their own unique voice and perspective.
Right.
It's like a blank canvas for them, a chance to really make their mark on the scene.
Right. So we've got a title that plays with expectations.
Yeah.
A director who's making a bold debut, a potentially creepy setting, a goth girl with a dark agenda, and a punk band thrown into the mix.
Right.
What does it all mean? Should Virgo be on our must-watch list?
I think so. I'm always drawn to films that offer a fresh take on familiar themes. And Virgo seems to be doing just that. It's a film that invites us to engage with its mysteries, to delve into the layers of meaning. It promises to be a thought-provoking and unsettling experience.
So you're saying it's a film that's not going to just give you chills, it's going to make you think.
Exactly. And with those captivating elements, the setting, the characters, the title itself, Virgo, has the potential to stay with you long after you've finished watching it.
Well, there you have it, folks. Virgo, a Swedish horror film that promises to be as captivating as its enigmatic title suggests. It seems like the perfect blend of familiar tropes and fresh perspectives, with just enough intrigue to keep us guessing until the very end. We've got a band on the road, a mysterious goth girl, and a director with a bold vision. Who is Ava, really? What are her ulterior motives, and what will be the fate of the Raspberries as they venture deeper into the dark heart of Sweden? Only time will tell, but one thing's for sure, Virgo is a film that will haunt you long after the credits roll.